Hello, art nerd, Winged Canvas community. How's everybody doing? Well, it's night for me, so I was gonna say, hope you're all having a good night or enjoying your night. I know it's real me. Hello, I know the odd rare appearance of a real life me. So now you get to see how I talk with all my hands and everything, because you guys will never see that on stream with just the avatar. But yes, it is me. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I know it's real Josh. Well, thank you everybody for coming to the stream. We're really excited to get the stream going. So without a further ado or any more waiting, we're just gonna jump right into it. So hello, my fellow art nerds, and welcome to this special animation stream featuring a very special guest that I'm very excited to introduce very soon. Just a little introduction. He's a content creator and an animator from Australia, so that's very exciting. And I can't wait for you all to see what he has in store when it comes to animation and just what he has to share with you all. Also joining us behind the scenes is Eric Chang and Enoch Burgos, the team who is behind Cartoon Animator 5, which, by the way, if you didn't know, is the secret tool that we'll be showing you guys today. Now, if you're learning animation, whether it's on your own or you're attending my mentorship class or you're thinking of taking a course, we want to share with you an awesome tool that will help speed up your animation process exponentially. So much so, we don't think traditional animators want you to know about it. And on top of that, we have selected two characters, artworks from our Patreon members. So similar to our monthly challenges that you guys are probably familiar with, we reached out to our members to see who would like to have their character potentially animated. And so here they are. Just give me a few seconds as I share my screen and you guys will get to see it. So, yeah. Okay. There we go. Sharing my screen. Oh, and hello everybody joining in. I'll just do like one more hello because I see more people and familiar names joining in. Hello, Quinn. So yeah, we got two people from our members who submitted their drawings and they're gonna get their characters animated. And the first one is this cute slug guy by JAWredstoneguy. And if you guys did not know, he's been submitting this piece to the instructors for the past few months, it seems. I don't know if it's actually been a few months, but it feels like it's been a few months. But we've been going back and forth with him on just like the design of it, proportions, color, lighting, and this is the final look of it. So really soak it all in because this has gone through the ringers when it comes to design and just finessing. The lighting turned out amazing, JAWredstoneguy. The details, just the design of this character. I really can't wait to see this get animated by our special guest. And then the second character that we're going to be getting to see get animated is one done by another member of ours, Krem. So this is also another amazing character. It's kind of this, I guess, sea creature, devilish looking character. And again, great design, great kind of like shape language and proportions going on. So again, I'm very excited to see how this character is going to get animated. So congrats to you both for being selected. And this is where I get to, I guess, reveal our guest. Our guest for today is Gary, and he's going to be animating your characters using the software Cartoon Animator 5 today. And you'll get to see them come to life. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guest, Garry Pye. Gary, I think you can share a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Josh, how you going? You can hear me
I'll hand it off to you. Yeah, I can hear you. You sound great.
Look, hello, everybody. Thank you, first of all, for welcoming me to be a part of this whole experience. This is really exciting for me. And hello to everybody who's watching and has joined in. If you've joined in today, then I figure that you must be, like me, just extremely passionate about your animation and illustration, or like me, you're totally obsessed with your animation and illustration, and that's all you wake up wanting to do all day, every day. I have to tell you, hang on, I just want to check my, what did I just check my settings here on my camera? I'm in full definition, high definition. So, so I just wanted to tell you that ever since I was a kid, all I've ever wanted to do was to draw cartoons. That's it. That's the only dream I ever had. While all the other kids wanted to be doctors and lawyers and astronauts, all I wanted to do was draw cartoons. And the fact that I'm here today and at this point in my life, and I get to share this with you guys, is an extremely exciting time for me. So what I'd like to do today is to demonstrate the software that I use for animation, which is Cartoon Animator. And first of all, I need to explain that Cartoon Animator is not here to replace any of the software that you might be using or any of the animation processes that you use. Cartoon Animator just offers a unique set of tools and features that can bring your illustrations to life in some really fun ways. Because look, I got into this because I had so many illustrations and drawings laying around that I'd done over the years. And to be honest, I just wanted to see them come to life. I wanted to get them to move. I wanted to get them to walk and talk and do everything I possibly could. And today, I'm going to show you a few different ways that we can do that using Cartoon Animator. All right, so I'm going to present now. I'll present my screen, share my screen.
Good. Everyone's excited.
And I've been looking forward to this for all week. I can't believe how excited I am about this. Okay.
Yeah, so, and by the way, people, Gary can't see your chat because he's busy setting it up, but I will be relaying what you say to Gary. And yeah, everyone's just saying hello to you, and everyone's kind of showing you love.
Can I ask? So you can see the Slug character on screen?
At the moment, no. I think it'll be brought up soon.
Okay, wait on, because I've hit present. Sorry. I've hit present, and I thought you should be able to see. Have you got Photoshop there?
A screen has popped up. I think this will just be on the back end of stuff as they get it presented.
Okay, so you can see the Slug?
No.
Okay, my apologies. Oops, my apologies. I hit present.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I hit present and present. Yeah, my apologies. I've hit present and I don't know why it's not presenting.
Oh, it was presenting. Maybe just let it sit for a while and then fade.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. It's
but it's because I hit present Windows and then I hid the little taskbar at the bottom, and to my knowledge, that's all I needed to do to be able to present. Can you see Photoshop? Can you see the Slug? Okay.
I did see a bit of that infinity screen, so I think it was working for a bit.
I didn't want that. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure what to do. If I reduce, because if I go back to the our screens where we were, you're going to get an infinity screen. Okay. All right. Can you see Cartoon Animator?
Let's just give it a sec and see if it pops up. Oh, well, yeah, while we're figuring it out, I guess I'll answer some questions. Is this 2D or 3D animation? It's what we're going to be doing with it is going to be on the 2D side of it for sure. But I think there's some aspects of it that will simulate 3D or we'll have some parts of it that will feel kind of 3D. Yeah. So it's 2D, but there's some things where you can kind of cheat with it to make it feel 3D. Yeah. Oxidus, you've heard of Gary before. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, so I guess we're trying to get it sorted, because we're, technology is gonna have its ups and downs. Yeah. What are some good warm-ups for drawing? Yeah, I guess this is the best time to throw me some questions as we figure things out on the back end. But thank you everyone for being a good sport and just kind of like going along with it. But yeah, what's some good warm-ups for drawing? Sometimes drawing just like this might sound really like old school of me, just drawing circles. Because I started off doing like traditional drawings, sometimes instead of starting off with the computer first, I'll bring out my sketchbook and just free draw some faces just to warm up the hand, get the hand used to like the motion of holding a pencil, the weight of it, and just some good proper drawing habits. And then afterwards, I'll go back to like digital to really hammer out the details, I guess. Yeah. You look dope in your live action form, Josh, used to your cartoon avatar. Oh, yeah. How do you guys like my room? Very different from Jesse's. And I'm wondering if anybody could spot any like cool things. Yeah, try to see if you can spot anything in my screen or in my room. I don't know. I have some cool things. Do you have any advice for technical issues happening? Well, we'll figure it out. This one, the stream is a little bit more more organic, where before usually we have like a very specific project and everything, but this time it's going to be a little bit more organic. So yes, we're having some technical issues, but we're going to be figuring it out on the back end anyways. Yeah. Do you have any advice for people with strong illustration fundamentals looking to transition into animation? Oh, well, if you have strong illustration fundamentals, well, yeah, that's interesting because illustration you don't need to be very, very technical. So I would say make sure your technical skills are there. You don't have to know the entire human anatomy, but you just need to know like structure. Perspective is really useful, and just how to block in very, very basic shapes. So prisms, cylinders, spheres. Like if you can understand that, that's probably the best way to think about. Oh, hey, I see it. There's the app.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that, Josh.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, for some reason it just wasn't displaying my screen. I have no idea why. But so what are we going to do? Normally, what I was going to do is to show you some of the things in Photoshop as well. But I can explain that. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Photoshop. I can explain what I can do in Cartoon Animator. Is going to be easy. So I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting. Let's get started. Let's get it together. All right. So what I want to do today is to show you some of the different ways that you can take your illustrations and bring them to life. And I'm going to show you using a couple of the different characters that the people at Winged Canvas have been good enough to send me. And first of all, the first one I want to use is the Slug prop, the Slug illustration, who I absolutely adore. This character here is just gorgeous. I am going to have to try. Can you see Photoshop now, Josh?
It's just the Cartoon Animator.
Okay, what I'm going to have to do, this will only just take me just a couple of seconds, and my apologies again, but what I've got to do, for some reason, it's just not displaying Photoshop, and I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is to just quickly export this image out of Photoshop so that I can bring it straight into Cartoon Animator. So I'm back in Cartoon Animator now, and we're going to do it this way. Okay, here is a little Slug character. And what I've done, all I've done here simply is to export it from Photoshop and as a PNG file, and I've brought it into Cartoon Animator, and finally, now I can get started. So this is just a single character. So we're not looking at an articulated character that's been rigged or anything like that. He's just a simple single image. And as I said, I love this character. I thought he was absolutely perfect. In order to get just a single image moving, what we're going to do is to just give him some bones. We're going to create a bone structure within this character. When I select Add Bone, if I just left click and move my mouse in and around the character to create a bone structure like that, then we'll give him some bones in his tail as well. So I'll just grab that bone and we'll add some bones into his tail as well like that. And then we'll give him some bones up towards his ears here, like that. And we'll take his ears. Now, what we've done, and this only just took a couple of seconds, okay? We've just put in a very simple structure of bones for him so that now I can grab each of these bones and I can start to move my character around and get him animated. Now, one way that we can bring this character to life, if I move across over to here, one way that we can bring this character to life is by keyframing individual poses for our character, and then Cartoon Animator will create all the in-between files and frames for this character. So if I bring up his bone structure, let's say, for instance, we move forward to frame 10, I grab one of the bones and nice and simply, we just move the bones to change the pose of the character. Then we'll move forward to frame 20, we'll do it again, and we'll just change the pose of the character like that. Now, what we've done at frame 0, we have our character looking like that. At frame 10, he looks like that. And at frame 20, he looks like that. And then when I hit play at 30 frames a second, Cartoon Animator is going to bring that character to life. So that's a really simple way. We're starting with the absolute basics of how you can bring one picture to life. But there's even more that we can do, even with just such a simple rig as this. And what we can do is we'll get rid of the motion that we just added to that. We'll go back to here. Now, we've added in the bones into our character, but Cartoon Animator has a feature called Spring Bones. Spring Bones will automate a lot of the animation of your character's parts. So if you have a character that has things like hair or a long dress or something like that, you can have that automatically animate as you move the character around the screen. So these bones that we've put in here right now are all static, but let's create some spring bones and see what we can do. So if I open up the spring bone tab here, I'll create a little folder and we'll call that tail, and we'll put our tail bones into there. We'll grab this bone, we'll assign it to the group, and now all of these bones have become spring bones that can move about on their own. We'll add a second little group here and we'll call it ears. And we'll grab his ears, we'll assign that to the group, we'll assign his ears, we'll assign that to the group. Now, if I hit preview and I grab this main bone of the character, as I move him around, he's going to have a wonderful, smooth flex about him that I don't have to keyframe anymore. I don't have to go in there and move that tail around. He's going to automatically move all those parts as I move him around. Let's take him into an actual scene and see how that would work. If you're using Photoshop or any art software that can create a layered PSD file, then you can easily create a layered scene and drop it directly into Cartoon Animator. So here, for instance, I've created a scene that I'm going to bring straight into Cartoon Animator, and it has all of the layers intact from the PSD file. So here's our scene. I'll just scroll out so that we can see it. Here's our scene, and these are all individual layers that I created in Photoshop so that we can build up our scene. Now, Cartoon Animator, even though we're working with 2D animation that's nice and flat, we can create a really good parallax scrolling and three-dimensional depth of scene with our scene layers. If I open up this tab up here and go to my 3D view, now you just need to imagine that the front of the scene here, that we're sitting in the audience at it like a stage play or a Broadway show. This is the front of the stage. That's the back of the stage. So our camera is here and the curtains would be all the way back there. I can grab any of the individual parts in my scene and bring them closer to camera like this. Or I can grab the sky, push it right to the back. I can grab the mountain range, push it back like that. And now we've created a three-dimensional scene, nice and easy. We'll return back to our stage. There we go. And now when I move around, I get a nice parallax feel of 3 dimensions to my scene. You can still grab each of these parts and move them around to wherever you want and rescale them, put them wherever you want them to be so that you can customize all your scenes. We'll grab our little slug over here and we'll just bring him forward a little bit. Now, let's say, for instance, I wanted to animate this slug moving from this side of the screen to that side of the screen. Many different ways that you can do it in 2D animation. We could do it the traditional way of frame by frame animation, where we redraw every single scene, or using the bone structure of the character that we put in before, we could move all those individual bones around so that for each frame he starts to move. But Cartoon Animator has another really cool tool called Motion Pilot. Motion Pilot allows you to puppet your characters around the stage while you record everything in real time. So with my little slug here selected in Motion Pilot, when I hit record and I hit the space bar, I can now move my little slug around the screen, and his tail and his ears have that nice little bend and flex to them. And in about 3 seconds there, I've just recorded 270 frames of animation, which I can go right back to the start with and hit play, and away he goes, and he's already done. So that's one way that we can create animation from a single static image that we threw some bones into, some spring bones, and get everything moving. But there's one more thing that I want to quickly show you here in this project that we can also do. We can also operate and animate our cameras. We've got a full control over all of your camera in this sequence. So as our little slug walks across the screen like that, let's say we wanted to just do a nice slow push in with the camera so that we can move in on the character. Let's close those off and just have a look at the camera for a second. With these tools up here, I can just do a little slow push in, maybe move across to the character. And then as the animation continues, perhaps we just have the camera follow along with the character. Now, when I go back to frame 1 and I play my animation, my camera is also going to track and move along with my character. So that's just some of the things that we can do to begin with. And before I move on to the next stage of what I want to show you, was there anything you wanted to add there, Josh?
No, I just want to say that seeing all this stuff is so cool, because my brain is already going to like everything that you would do traditionally, or like the old school way of doing it, and it's just like it's almost like cutting it in half in terms of time.
I can tell you, if my only option was to do all of my animation frame by frame the traditional way that the Disney animators did it, I don't have the time, the skill, the patience, the resources. I couldn't do it. Thanks to software like this, people like me who don't have that skill to do the frame by frame animation still have the option to produce quality animation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's great. And the other thing too is like when you showed the whole parallaxing, because in my head it's just like, oh yeah, you can like tweak the character, but then you're like, oh, let me show you a different angle, and then you had all these elements in the background.
being
spaced
able to
out.
get the character, being able to get a character to move in front of objects and behind objects and move everything around. Yeah, it's just about having that total control. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, no.
All right.
And before you continue, I just want to
Go.
update you on the comment. But everybody's blown away. Everyone's like baffled and bamboozled. Oh, not bamboozled, but they're just amazed by like everything that they're seeing, and it's everyone's very curious about the software now.
Look, I'm really pleased because I got to tell you, we could leave this live stream going for the next 6 hours. Honestly, and
I would watch it.
I could be here and just talk your head off for the next 6 hours, and I could just walk you through this software because I live in here all day, every day, animating and drawing and doing all this sort of stuff. So to me, it's an absolute dream way of spending a day. Believe me.
Yeah. Everyone's saying that they would watch it too. I think like your energy has just been really entertaining and great too to see you demonstrate this. So
you know what?
Everyone's enjoying it.
It's easy to demonstrate something when you absolutely love it as much as I do, right? It's not a matter of, oh, I'm just here to sell a product or try and it's not a matter of that. This is my love. This is what I do all day, every day. And when I can get other people involved in it and they get to see what they can do and bring their work to life, I love it. I love it. All right. Are we happy to move on to the next section?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fantastic. All right. The next character that we have to show, and this one is absolutely adorable as well. What we'll do, where is it? And we'll bring this in. We'll go, where is she? C drive, and canvas. This character here. I love this character. And I have to tell you as well, my 16-year-old daughter has been walking around the house all week, and every time she catches sight of this one, she adores this character. She thinks it's brilliant. What I did here is in Photoshop, I took this particular artwork, and unlike the Slug, where it's just a single image, I took this character and broke it up into all individual sections so that it's like an articulated puppet. Okay, so every single part of this character is its own layer. I haven't done every part of the character, but I've done enough to give you a good demonstration here of what we can do. As I've brought each of the parts in, each part of the character has this little red dot associated with it, which is a pivot point. And the way pivot points work is every single layer in a character has all its own pivot points, which, where did the arm go? What did I do? Oh, I've turned them off. Every single part of the character has its own pivot point around which it will rotate 360 degrees. And by doing that in all different combinations, we will create animation. So the first thing I need to do here is to take each of these little pivot points and just line them up to where they need to belong. So that's the hand, that's the tail. And you can see that this is like what I love about this. This is not technical stuff, right? We don't have to have a master's degree to do this. You don't have to be an engineer. It's all very logical about the way everything works. And it's just a matter of putting everything into position. So now that we've got all of our pivot points in position, we can now move each of these parts around the pivot point. So for instance, if I hit preview, the tail will rotate around there individually and not affect the rest of the body. But we want to now link all of these pivot points together so that we create a skeleton for this character. Let's open up our bone editor, and starting with the extremities, the shank, we will connect that bone, that pivot point, to that pivot point, and then we'll connect it up to the hip. And again, nothing overly technical about this. It's about as straightforward as you can possibly get for creating a character, believe me. There's the tail. We connect the tail to the hip, and then we'll go start at the top here with the hair. We'll connect the hair to the head. We'll connect the head to the torso. Connect the head to the torso. We'll connect that to the hip, and then the upper arm, finally connect it to the torso. Now that we've got our bone structure in place, we can just hit preview and test it. And now, unlike the Slug that was all one piece, when we move each individual bone, we have a fully articulated character that can move and animate. And really, it's just a question now of the more bones you put in, the more layers you put in, the more attention to detail you pay to your character, the better it's going to animate. So like I showed you before with the keyframing of the different poses, we could do that with this character. But before we do, I want to put some more of those spring bones into this particular character because her hair and tail are absolutely perfect to get moving. So let's grab the tail and just open up our bone structure. I'm going to add bone, nice and simple. Oh, we're easy. Grab the bone, nice and simple. All I'm doing is just point and click with my left mouse button, absolutely anywhere I want to add bones in. And then we'll open up our spring bones, grab that bone, create a group, and we'll call that tail, and we'll assign that to the group. Also, an interesting point with the bones, you've got all these parameters for how the bones will move. So you can have them being springy or like they're filled with helium or however you want them to move, you have total control over that. But for now, for this demo, I'm just using the default. When I hit preview now, if I grab that tailbone, instead of that tail just moving as that solid piece, watch what happens. I move it now, and we get this lovely smooth motion of the tail. And if that doesn't blow you away, I got nothing better to show you because I absolutely love spring bones. These bring your characters to life in the most creative ways. But let's do her hair as well. Let's open up the bone tools, add bone. Like we did on the slug's tail, we'll just go zigzag, concertina sort of shape for the hair. There we go. And we'll create a folder here, and we're going to call that hair. And we're going to grab one of the hair sprites, grab this one here, our hair bones, and assign that to the group. Hit preview. Now when she moves her head and rotates it, her hair is going to move around like that. So let's take her now off into stage mode here and just have a look at how...
Actually, Gary, before we move on to the background, I thought this would be a good question to ask. How do you know where to put the bones, or is that...
Any way you want. The simple answer is, when it comes to a character like this, any way you want. The only thing that you need to remember is that the little red circle there is the pivot point around which this particular part that's associated will rotate. So that's going to rotate 360 degrees around that. So you're really worrying about the pivot points being in the right spot, and then just connect the pivot points with a bone.
Gotcha. And then for like the tail and the hair, how come was it kind of a little bit arbitrary as to how much you put in the tail, or?
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. If, let's say for instance, we've got our tail in there, and when we preview it, we go, okay, that's, with the spring bones, sorry. We've got our spring bones in there, right? And we hit preview, and we go, yeah, okay, that's moving quite nicely. We like that. We can leave it. But let's say, for instance, you go, yeah, I'd like a little bit more flexibility to the tail. You can grab a bone like that, hit insert, decide how many extra bones you want inside that bone. We'll put in another 2 bones, click OK. Now I have 2 bones in there. So what will happen if I just do that to a couple of these, and we'll just insert an extra couple of bones on that one as well, and we'll do it on this one as well. We'll just add in those extra couple of bones. Now when I return to here, grab my bone, tail, assign it to the group. All of my bones are in place now. When I hit preview now, and I grab the tail and I move it, I get a whole different way that tail moves because there's more bones that are moving individually. And while we're here, let me just show you. I told you about the presets. This is the default preset, right? If I hit stiff, then when I move it, I'll get movement, but there won't be as much movement. It'll be more stiff. If I hit rubbery, then the motion that I'm going to get is going to be different again. One of my favorites, if I hit weighted, it just looks like she's just got out of the shower and her tail's all wet. So depending on how many bones you want to put in there, yeah, you can do as many as you want. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like with art in general too. It's a little bit of intuition, but experimenting, trial and error, and getting closer to what you want.
Yeah, and the great part is that you can do it all in real time and see your results straight away. You don't have to come backwards and forwards, which is really good. So let's say, for instance, I've got my character there now, and now I want to animate her. I want to see my spring bones in action, see what happens. Let's say I go through to frame, I've got my first pose at frame 0. Now I'm going to move forward to frame 10, open up my 2D motion key editor. We'll grab that tail and get it moving, and we'll bring the tail up to here. And we'll get that torso, we'll bend the torso around, bring the hand up into position, ready to move, and maybe just bend the leg. Then we'll move forward, we'll duck off the frame 20, get that tail to sweep back down again, bring the arm forward, over to here, turn the head so that we get the nice bounce of the hair because we've got the spring bones in there, and we'll take the leg and we'll bring it up like that. Over the course of 20 frames that took us just a couple of seconds to do, we would now get this. And our character will come to life. So that's another way that you can do it. Keep in mind, there's lots and lots of different ways that you can animate your characters here. If traditional 2D animation is your thing, you can do frame-by-frame animation in here as well. But the whole idea here is to get your characters moving much faster than having to worry about frame-by-frame animation. So now, unless you have anything else that we want to cover on this one, I'll move forward to another character.
I've been actually saving some of the questions I'm seeing in chat, but I'm one. Some of them, if it's related, maybe I'll throw it in. But right now, I think we're good, and then we can maybe come back afterwards.
Well, we're going to have the Q&A session at the end anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Fantastic. Let me just save that project in case we decide to come back to it later on. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do now is to show you one of the characters that I've created, which is a little bit more detailed than what I've showed you so far. The stuff that I've showed you works perfectly, animates lovely and smooth, it's fast to put together, but if you want to take some time, you can get some really great puppets from this software. Let me bring out Enita. This is one of my characters that I've created, which is a G3 character for Cartoon Animator, and her name is Enita. And I will take you behind the scenes and just show you the detail that I have in her. So she's a fully articulated character, so we've got all of our limbs and everything in place ready to go. But one of the things that this character has is what's called a 360 head. What that means, Cartoon Animator works with a rigged puppet cutout system. As I said, everything is two-dimensional, everything is flat and layered on top of each other like sandwich layers. So over here, you can see all the different layers that make up my character that I can turn on and off so you can see them. But if I want this character to rotate her head and look around the room, I can do that and give her a really 3D effect. So these are all my different angles for the face. This is the forward-facing view. If I click here, this is what she looks like when she looks to the left. And all that's happened is that I've moved all of these different parts, I've shifted them all around into a position that simulates her looking to that side. So if we look to the top, I've shifted all those positions of the different sprites so that she's looking up, looking down, looking to the bottom, like that. And where the magic happens here is when I hit preview and I move my character's head around, what was just flat two-dimensional character, like sprites, now gives you this lovely three-dimensional motion of the head. And you can keyframe that so that you can get your characters moving around. Absolutely beautiful. Another thing that we can do with this character, and for this, I'll go back to stage mode for a second, and I'll just zoom in on her. She has bone hands. Instead of having to draw every single individual frame of animation for your hands when your characters are acting, we use bone hands. And that means that we have articulated fingers with all the individual bones for each hand. And when I go into my hand pose editor here, and I'll just close off the bones for a second so that we're not looking at them. When I go into my hand pose settings here, click on that, and the right hand. I'm going to select the right hand because that's what we're working with. Now I can use the hand pose editor to swap between the gestures of the hand. And all I need to do is to keyframe them in position along my timeline, and I can have the hands change from open to closed and any other gesture that I want. Or if I want to go to the detail, I can actually keyframe all of her fingers individually for absolute total control. Another thing that we can do with these characters that I love is bringing your face to life with facial puppetry if you've got your character rigged properly. Like I showed you, she's got all different sprites that make up her face. So we've got, for instance, these are all the different mouth shapes that I've put into the character so that she can do lip syncing. Then I've got all different eye shapes for all different eye expressions. So you can create a really expressive range of emotion out of your characters. But then on top of that, you can also control all of the different face parts. So where she's looking there, I just hold down my left mouse button in this darker section here. And now I can control her eyes. Again, I can keyframe all of that movement while her face is moving around. I can do all that as well. Then we have the detail settings, and we go even deeper into the character. And now if I go to her eyes, I've got even more control over the rigging of the puppet, where I can bring everything down and animate it. And if it's okay with the people backstage, could I get you to play me a video that I have, video number 10, which is about facial puppetry that will show Enita in action and show you exactly how well she animates. So that just gives you an idea of how you can bring your characters to life. That's 3 different ways that you can animate. Then I have one more video that I know Backstage has prepped for us, which is about another way that we can animate with Cartoon Animator, where you can actually use MOCAP. So you can use your webcam, capture your own live performance, and put that into your characters recorded in real time. Is another way we can do it. So if you guys would like to play that video, and then we'll move on from there.
You don't have to use mirror anymore.
No. Mind you, I spend a lot of time in front of the mirror, still practicing all my expressions and stuff.
Yeah, they know that every time I'm streaming animation, I joke about how I have a mirror in front of me so I can just make expressions and everything.
Well, that's one of the things we learned from the old Disney animators, right? That's what they used to do. Always have the mirror on the desk. And you know, one of the things I always pay attention to a lot is when I blink. That's a big thing that I put into my animations. When I'm always paying attention to when I move my head around, where I'm blinking, and try to put that into my characters.
Yeah. Actually, before the video comes up, just in case nobody knows it, but what is a sprite?
Okay, the sprite is just the individual parts that make up a character. So if we look at Anita's face, for instance, and we look at her eyes, this here, the illustration of the eye, turn it on and off, that is a sprite. And each individual sprite can be swapped across to create different looks. And you can even do sprite sequences which I'll show you later on if you like, where you can do it like traditional animation, and you can have all your individual sprites that will seamlessly run through and create an animation that way as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's really cool.
But what I've showed you there is all the stuff that I wanted to demo for you today. And then through the Q&A session, if anybody's got any questions that they want to toss up that they'd like to see, I'm only too happy to take you through and show you some other stuff as well.
Oh, cool. The video is ready, so we'll play that
Okay.
and then.
No problem.
And this works with like any regular mocap as well, like camera.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
like
with your
face
webcam.
cam.
Just straight off your webcam. Nice and
That's
easy.
awesome.
And I got to tell you, it's really accurate. Like it's really the more detail you put into your characters, the better it works. And I'm really sorry that I can't demo it for you live today. But the problem is, I'm using my webcam for the interview, so I can't do the mocap at the same time, unfortunately.
Cool. Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
and if there's anything you want to like explain for the video that we're seeing right now,
I can't see the video, unfortunately.
Oh, you can't see it. Oh, okay.
No, I would be only too happy to, but I can't see the video because I'm in Cartoon Animator on my screen, and if I leave, sadly, all you're going to get is the infinity screen.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, it's just showing people that like the whole facial expression with the camera, and then also like the hand capture animations. But
yeah,
so sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so your character on screen will mimic your actions. So it can lock onto your eyes, and as your eyes move around the screen, it will follow your eyes, it will follow your lip syncing, it'll follow your head rotation. So for people who want to do things like live streaming or to have a character over the top of a video and things like that, it's absolutely ideal. And it's fantastic. And not only that, it's just heaps of fun to play with. That's the truth. It's just, It's a whole lot of fun. You find yourself, it's funny, whenever I use mocap, I always find that my character is sitting there smiling because I forget that I'm just having so much fun that I'm sitting there smiling and my character's smiling back at me all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess, is there anything else to show, or we can start opening this up?
No, they're the main things that I wanted to show you. And then I'm happy if people have any questions that they'd like to ask. I'm more than happy to take some questions, answer them, and maybe if I can, give you a quick demo of it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess people, you can start throwing in your questions. I do have some that I've saved, and I guess you can answer them while people are also funneling in their questions.
Sure.
So this is actually something that I've seen, which is on the top bar, and this is something that someone brought up as well, but like After Effects and Photoshop is like, those icons are up there. Are those plugins or what?
Oh, you're talking about up here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You can export, I can export this character direct to Photoshop, right? And export it straight out. It will open in Photoshop. And then I can make any changes to the character I want, or I can swap out all the parts of this character for my own parts. So I could swap out the torso and the arms and all that sort of thing. And then just bring it straight back in to Cartoon Animator, and everything's already done and ready to go. The software has a whole bunch of template characters that you can use. So you bring your template character up on screen, export it to Photoshop, make your changes, hit save, and it will automatically update in Cartoon Animator, and then you just save it. For raster-based artwork or PNG, it's got a pipeline that takes it straight out to Photoshop. And if you want to use SVG art at the moment, it will take it out to Illustrator.
Okay, cool. I guess this is a good lead-in then. Someone asked, is there a way to adapt a character to the vector pipeline template?
Yes, absolutely. I do it all the time. I've made over 600 characters, and probably maybe about 200 of those are vector characters. And here's my process, the way I work. I create all my characters in CorelDRAW, okay? Then I export that as an SVG, and then I bring it into Cartoon Animator, and then I rig my puppet up. And I can do that. Now, keep in mind, I've done, like, as I said, 600 characters. But I can do a character from coming up with the concept to having it completely finished and ready to go in 2 days. So the more you do, the faster you get. Because the great thing about a lot of these processes is it's repetition. Once you know how to do it, you're doing the same steps over and over, but the end goal looks different every time.
Okay, cool.
And one other thing too, the good thing about let me show you something. The great thing about SVG, let me show you something. The great thing about SVG is not only can we zoom right in on a character, and then you'll see down here, it will come up and it's vectorizing it. When it gets to 100%, you'll see now all of our line work is nice and clear. Unlike if you're using PNG-based pixelates, the more you zoom in, you'll get pixelation. But another really, really cool thing that you can do with vector-based characters, let me show you something. Let me just bring this character in for 1 second. Here's a character that I'm working on at the moment, right? We have a system called SVG color management. You can set up your characters so that you can change all of the colors of your character. So if I open this tab up here, I've got all of my character broken down into all individual folders. So I can take his skin, for instance, reduce the brightness. Where are we? Yep. Reduce the brightness, reduce the saturation, and all of a sudden, all of his skin changes, and I created a whole new ethnicity for my character. But on top of that, I can also do it with things like his clothing. So if I go to his jacket here, and I change the hue of the jacket, then I've got complete customization over the look of the colors of the character. That means that if you take a little bit of time building this system into your character, you can create a whole army of characters just from one character that all have really individual, unique looks. And you can turn individual parts off as well. So like you've got his glasses there. Where is his glasses? Where he's got his glasses there, you can reduce the opacity to turn them off completely, right? Actually, that didn't work because they've got a black outline. What we can do, you can do that with the sprites. So I can take his glasses off with the sprites, or I can go even down to the detail of the glass in the lens, which is there. I can increase the opacity on it, change the hue, change the brightness, and make them sunglasses instead of reading glasses. So yeah, lots of flexibility when you're working with SVG characters.
Yeah, you don't even have to like go back to the original file on like Photoshop or Illustrator, change it there, and then have it change on.
No, you can do it all in here.
All right, that's so convenient because, yeah, I know that could be like annoying to do. I guess.
Go.
Sorry? No, go.
No, I was just going to say the thing that I love about it is that you create like just really quick, right? You create this one character here, and then once I duplicate him over here, just to give you an idea, quick. Once I duplicate that character over there, then if I turn his hair off at the top there, take his glasses off him like that, take his mustache off him, I can go in and change the color of his hair, and then I'm going to get, here we go to his hair, increase the brightness, drop the saturation, and I can turn him into an old man. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much flexibility there that you can do with it.
That's crazy. Everyone's saying the customizability in this seems to be like there's just so much that you could play around with.
Absolutely.
And,
it's I would say Springbones and SVG color management are my two favorite features of Cartoon Animator, definitely. And for instance, have a look at this. If you take a character like this one, right? This is a character that I made. With the SVG color management, now I broke this character up into so much detail that we can take his short sleeve shirt that's over the top, and we can take that off him, and now he's just wearing his shirt underneath. Then, if I want to, I can take his pants off him, I can take his shirt off him, I can take all the individual parts off him, so you can create layers of clothing and change your characters around that way as well.
Oh, okay. No, that's so like the possibilities that I feel like I could start thinking about like how to use it. It's really cool.
Good.
Yeah, so I guess the other question, well, I guess this question is kind of answered in a way. So someone asked, can Cartoon Animator help with in-betweens, but I guess
you
putting them in different poses is in-betweening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like if you, well, I just grab a darker character on screen here. Okay. If we grab this character, for instance, and we were going to animate this character down here on my timeline, go to motion, go here to this is my 2D motion key editor where I can grab the bones and move them around. And essentially all we're doing is moving from pose to pose. So when I create an animation, what I do is to block out all of my motions first. So if, for instance, I go to frame 10 and I wanted him to bend over like that and move to that position, then Cartoon Animator fills in all those in-betweens there for me. And one of the great things, this is one of the things that I love, is with traditional animation, frame by frame animation. If I just completed 3,000 frames of animation and then I went, oh, you know what? I want to make a change. I want to go back to frame 7 and do it different. I can't do it. But with this, I can go back through my sequences and change anything that I want. If I want to change the speed, I can just grab this keyframe here, drag it out to frame 35. Now he takes 35 frames to bend. But if I grab it, move it down to frame 5, he's only going to take 5 frames to bend, so it's faster. So you can play around with all your timing and all that sort of thing. And yeah, you have total control over everything in your character, all the way down to their eyeballs. Like you've just got total control.
And is there an S-curve type of option, or do you have to manually place the poses to get it to like the ease out, ease in?
No, you manually, okay. Different ways that you can get your character. Here's a good one for you. You can manually do it the way I just did it then, right? Mm-hmm. One of the other things that I love about this software, and this was actually the thing that made me get into the software before anything else. This was the one thing that got me. I don't have the ability to keyframe all my individual motions all the time. When I very first started, right, if I wanted that character to stand there, wait till I go back to frame 0. If I wanted that character there and I wanted him to walk across the screen like that, and my only option was to grab each part and get him to step out and move like that, I can tell you, honestly, I would have lasted about a week doing this, right? Because I don't have that skill. But with this software, one of the things that you can do is they have pre-made motions, right? And I've got all of these pre-made motions here available to me. And all I need to do is to grab it, drag it, drop it onto my character. And what happens is there is that motion. Now I drag and drop that one on there. It's the loop cycle. He will start walking and grab that one. Don't worry about the 2 heads. I'll fix that in a second. That's built into the character for a reason. And we'll just go back to the beginning here, grab the character, turn off that other face. I forgot all about that. Turn that off. So now my character has started to animate. Now that took me, 5 seconds to do it. Then all I have to do is to move up here and work out while that animation is playing, where do I want my character to be on screen? So as he moves, as he's getting ready to walk, just there, that's we're going to put in a keyframe because that is our point that we're going to start walking at. Then we work out he's walking. And then when he stops, I'll put in a keyframe. That'll be his stop point, but we'll put it there so that now he will walk across the screen like that. Now, if you ask me, so honestly, if you ask me to race you, and I'll do it by keyframe, and you can do it by the pre-made motions, you're never gonna beat somebody who's able to do it that way, right? It's just the main thing that I use in the motions is the walk cycle. I never ever keyframe my own walk cycles because not only that, but see how when he walks, see how his feet, they're not quite, there's a little bit of motion he's not quite flat on the floor when he's walking, right? All I need to do is to move that transform key back so it takes a little bit less to do, and now his feet stick better to the floor. So yeah, that's a great way of doing it. And then of course you can even check this out. Let me show you something. By the way, stop me at any time, but now you've got me on a roll.
No, you're good.
Now you've got me on a roll, and I can just start showing you this stuff all day. Okay, let's go back to our character again. We'll bring this one in this time. All right, and I'll show you another way that we can get them working. And I will do the same thing that I did before and just quickly turn his head off, because this character has two heads for one reason. Now, let's say I've got the character there and I want him to walk to the other side of the screen, or I'm creating an animation with a crowd scene and I want a whole bunch of characters walking around in the distance, but I don't want to have to go to the trouble of keyframing all the motion. Remember I showed you Motion Pilot before, right? If we come into Motion Pilot here, open that up, and we'll grab our motion over here. Where is it? That motion that we just had, the walk cycle. Grab it down here. There's our walk cycle. Now, you saw before that I just grabbed the walk cycle, dragged it onto the character, and he started walking. Great, that works fine. But let's do it a different way. Down here, we have a tab called Motion. I open that up, click this box, and I have a box called Blend Motion. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drag that motion, and I'm going to drop it into there. What I've done is to tell Cartoon Animator, when I move this character around using my mouse in Motion Pilot, I want you to play that animation at the same time, right? So if my character's off screen there and I'm ready and I want him to start walking, I hit the space bar. Helps. Oh, why did that not work? There's the motion. Hang on a second. I've done that exactly the right way. Why did that not work? Let's get back to motion. Oh, because we didn't, here we go. Because we didn't do mouse movement. I had the wrong button selected. So we hit record, and now our character will just walk around as I move my mouse. So if I want to, I can have him off screen and I'm recording, and then all of a sudden in the background, I just want him to casually walk past. And the great thing is, once I've recorded that, right, I go back to the beginning here. Once I've recorded all that, which I'm now playing, at any point I can stop it and I can go in and I can tweak the character. So I can have him talking and I can have him blinking and his head moving. I still have total control, even though the layout of the foundation of the animation is there.
Okay, so like you can you tweak the predetermined animation itself? Like after you've dropped it in, you can go back to the timeline and adjust it, or does that
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You wouldn't do it with Motion Pilot, right? You wouldn't do it with Motion Pilot. You do it this way. I'll show you. Let me take a second. Let's just bring this character in for a second. Bring this one in. Yeah, once you've applied, so once I get my motion here, go to my animations, and down here, go my walk cycle. There it is. And so if I drag my walk cycle onto that character, it will automatically play, and you'll see it come up down here in the timeline. There it is there. So there's my motion, makes the character walk, right? But if I want to, I can still go in and make changes to my character within this cycle, right? So if I grab, what have I got him on? We'll go with full body. We'll go with selected arm. So I can go into this character and we'll grab his left arm. This is my list of all my different parts here, left arm and hand. And that'll be on the timeline now. And I'll just create a keyframe for that to say that that is the point in time. That's where I want that to be. And then when I move forward in the middle of this animation, I can grab that arm and I could move it to be somewhere else. And now when he walks, it will go up and move up there instead. So in the middle of an animation that's pre-made, you can still go in and tweak everything.
Okay. No, that's really cool. Okay.
See, one of the things that I love to do, right? If I create an animation, what I do, I block out all my basic animation, then I go back to frame one. Then I might add in my lip syncing. Then I go back to frame one. Then I might add in my head turn, go back to frame one. Eye blinks, frame one. And you can just keep going. And the last thing I do is eyebrows. That's my thing, right? The last thing I animate are the eyebrows, so that you get that nice gesturing of when people are talking and the eyebrows are raising up and down. That's the last thing that I add in. But yeah, you've got control. It's all about control. That's what I love.
Yeah, no, because it basically kind of cuts down all the tedious work in the beginning, because it's like, oh, beforehand you had to figure out how how far the character is going to walk and the timing. But now it's like, okay, I have it. And then now I can really focus in on the tinier stuff that you would worry about later, kind of.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. That's what it's about, right? It's about creating the animation and not getting bogged down on the boring, tedious side of things.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And can I give you a perfect example here? See this character. This is an octopus character that I made, okay? Now, here's his bone structure. They're all the bones that make up his arms and legs, okay? Now, if I said to you, let's go back to frame 1 for 1 second. Here, 1 second. Let's bring him back in at frame 0 so that we doesn't drift around. Okay. If I said to you, I want you to animate this character swimming from this side of the screen to that side of the screen. One option that I had, even with the rigged system and things like that, is to grab the bones and move them all around individually, okay? Because this character has spring bones set into his tentacles. But check this out. And if this doesn't impress you, I got nothing left. All right, we've got our octopus there. I hit record, and when I hit the space bar, I'm going to pilot the octopus around swimming, okay? So I hit the space bar, and now my octopus will swim around the screen like that, and I'm moving him around. Stop. Now, I've just done 255 frames of animation. We go back to frame 0, hit play, that look like this, right? And that took me 5 seconds. Now, I can add to that to get the character's head turning. As a matter of fact, can I get the guys backstage to play a video for me, if you wouldn't mind? Would you mind playing video number 6? Because it's this character in action, in a finished animation, to show you what you can actually do, if that's okay. Right, so you can see there, that whole animation there took me maybe an hour to make. Honestly, it sounds crazy, but it took me an hour. You take Motion Pilot and Spring Bones and keyframing out of that, it would have taken me weeks. But that's the beauty of this, absolutely.
Yeah, no, that, like, just especially for a character like this where there's all those tentacles. I remember hearing interviews with animators where they come up with a character design and they all hated it because there was like dangling bits, or like you're wearing a crown with jewelry or earrings, and so
well, look, in the early days of animating, before we had spring bones, right, the thing I used to hate was characters with long hair, because you knew that to animate them properly, you were going to have to go in there and keyframe every 5 frames this little tiny bit of movement to get it in there. Now I just add the hair into a character, and as soon as that character turns their head, then it just moves around automatically, right? You take a character like this, for instance. Where's a good one here? Where is she? Right down the bottom, always down the bottom. You take a character like this, for instance, which has spring bones built into her hair, right? Zoom in so you can see it, right? And when I come here and move her hair around, you get that nice little bounce in her hair that looks nice and natural. And you imagine trying to just animate that in there, it's going to take you forever. It's going to take you forever. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, cool. So I get the next question is about rigid objects. So we've been animating a lot of like characters and more organic flesh type characters, but what about things like cars, or like maybe even like a robot? Is there, I'm guessing, like, is the principle still pretty much the same?
Absolutely. The principle is still the same, right? Let me just look for something here on my list. What was I looking for? Props. There we go. This is just a crazy example, but here's a barbecue steak that I did. Just a single. Why don't I ever bring anything in on frame 0? Okay. I always do it. All right. So what else we got in there? Yep, perfect. We're going to bring that steak in. We've got our little steak in there, right? If it was a car and it's rigid parts, then you can have the car, like if this was an object that you wanted to move across the screen, then yeah, you just have your motion timeline open, move it from there to there. It's going, everything stays rigid. It's going to move it across like that, no problem. So if you had a robot that had all stiff, rigid limbs, the process works exactly the same. For instance, what it would come down to is making sure that your character has individual elbow joints, right? So if we go, because a lot of my characters have the little flexible spaghetti-like limbs, right? But if I load this character back onto stage again, you'll see, if you were to imagine that this was a robot, then I can get that nice elbow bend like that, which you can have to be more robotic. It depends how you actually do your keyframing. If you want it to be smooth, you can make it smooth. If you want it to be jagged and staticky, you can do that. However you want. Yes.
All right. Cool. Yes, because there's someone in chat who asked about like cars or like airships. So I guess those would be a bit more simpler, but it just depends on also the different like sprites maybe that you might bring in, like just separate parts that would be moving individually from like the main body of the vehicle.
Let me give you a really good example. Because they mentioned spaceships, let me give you a really good example here. Pax, Armada. You have a look at this. Let's say, for instance, we just bring in a spaceship here like this. It's just a single individual prop of a spaceship, and we'll reduce it down. This is just a PNG prop, okay? So no big deal. We'll just rescale it so that you can actually see it on screen. Right, there we go. And yeah, you can add everything to this, from lights or propellers or whatever you want, and you can get that, just basically keyframe from position A to position B. You can do it like that. But if you get really, really clever, you can also do something like this. Watch this. I love this. Here we go. Remember I showed you the 360 head on the character, how the character can rotate their head around? Okay. This here is a little UFO model that I made. Essentially, what you're looking at is a 360 head of a character. This is the head of a character. But instead of putting in eyes and a nose and a mouth, I put in all the parts of the UFO. Right? So as well as being able to take the lights and change the sprites sequence around so that I can have the lights hover around like that, also, when I open up my 360 head, my face key editor, and I'm using the head rotation gizmo, which is this little button here, when I grab that and move my mouse around, I can have a two-dimensional prop act and behave just like a three-dimensional prop, and I added in spring bones on the aerials so that as it flies around, the area will bounce. Then I layered it up so that you can have a character sitting inside the UFO as well. So yeah, look, you know what? One of the things I always say to people when they're working with this software, because I work with a lot of people, is when you start a project, don't ask yourself, can the software do what I want? Start the project and go, this is what I want. How do I make the software do it? Because I promise you, it can do whatever you want.
No, that's really insightful. I think it's because there's also so much like that you can do with it. It's sometimes, I guess, hard to know where to start. But I guess if you're asking yourself, like, what do I want, and like, what's the direction that I want this project to head in, that's easier to start with.
Absolutely. And the thing I always tell people, the best, like particularly with this software, and this probably applies to everything from cabinet making to mechanics, right? The best way to start is to pick one feature, one tool, learn it properly, and make a small project, like 10, 15 seconds long, a small project of, for instance, like a man walking across the screen, or a man turning his head or picking an object up. Just keep it simple. Don't try to do the next big screen blockbuster film that's an hour and a half long on your first week with the software, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think just one more question, but before we go to that last question, I just want people to know that it'll be good for everyone to stick around, especially near the end, because we will be making a pretty big announcement, and it will be a cash prize. So it is probably in everybody's best interest to stick around, because yes, we will be making some pretty big announcements. So I guess this last question is, can you kind of go in and out between doing the animations that we did in Cartoon Animator, but then go back and, I don't know, export it to hand drawn in like somewhere else? I don't know how much like, can you mix and match the style
absolutely
of animation?
Absolutely, yeah. And I've got that's a great question, and I have the perfect thing to show you that is going to demonstrate. One of the things that you can do here, you can create animations or props or whatever using sprite sequences, as I said before, right? So if, for instance, we go to here, and I will just bring in, we have an artist that works with us called Declan Walsh, who is an ex-Disney artist, and he is absolutely amazing. And Declan comes from a background of traditional hand-drawn animation, okay? And I'll just bring this one in, right? And so everything that you're about to see is frame-by-frame animation. So it's a sprite sequence, essentially, okay? So that little plant there is made up of all of these individual sprites here that you can see. This is a sprite sequence. I can control when the sprite plays, like I can control the speed, I can control whatever I want about it so that the end result looks like this. Yeah, here he goes. Right?
Whoa.
That character has a transparent background, so I could drop it. I could drop any background that I want into it, right? So if I go back up to here and we just grab this crazy background, which is not going to match this at all, but that's fine. All right. And there we go. And we'll just throw that to the background like that. And we'll just zoom in here like that, so that now we'd have our character on our background with a transparent layer. So you could have that, and then I could have my other characters walk in and act with the plant as well. And for the folks backstage, I have one more little video that I'd like to play that demonstrates this perfectly. That's video number 2, called Change. If you have a look at the end of this video, there is an animation of a smoke prop that Declan did, which is amazing. Have a look at this. The traditional styles of animation with the keyframing cutout system of animation.
No, that's so cool. The mixing and matching of it. Yeah. I feel like every time we keep talking, it's like the possibilities just keep growing and growing, and the flexibility of like what to use it for. Yeah.
Believe me, I have the brakes on like you wouldn't believe. I have the harness on myself, because every time I show you something, I've got another 100 things I want to show you. And that's the truth. You go down the rabbit hole, and that's why I love the Q&A session, because you never know what you're going to get, right? And yeah, I go down that rabbit hole, and we could be here till tomorrow, and I still wouldn't cover the same thing twice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for the questions. We're now going to go to Enoch and Eric, or if it's just Enoch. And because Enoch's going to be announcing the part of the contest that you guys will be able to partake in, so our fellow art nerd community. So yeah, Enoch, or Eric. Yeah. Oh, okay. Enoch's here. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Yeah,
can you hear
contest. Me? Yeah, I can hear you. So I'm pretty sure everybody should be able to hear you too.
So hello, everyone from Winged Canvas. We are very excited to be part of this stream with you guys. Gary is our best demo guy with CTA. This guy is well known in the community. We're very, very grateful to have this opportunity to present something interesting for you guys today. Gary gave you guys a really nice demo on how to use CTA 5. And one thing to mention, our company, Reallusion, we developed both software and content. And one of the goals that we have is that we ensure that all our tools are fully compatible with your toolkits. We understand that as artists, you guys have software that you've been using for years. You have preferred tools that you like to stick to because that's what you like. And when Gary was showing the icons on top about Photoshop and After Effects, this is why we have so many plugins, because we designed CTA to be compatible with all the stuff that you guys already use. Because the idea is that if we could help you accelerate any part of your process, if we could save you 10%, 15% of your time, you can create more. And again, CTA is there to complement your workflow, not to replace anything. So we always thought it was a perfect fit for Winged Canvas because you guys got a lot of artwork that you've been creating. And so today, what we wanted to do is that we wanted to take this opportunity to invite all of you. I know I've been reading the chats in the stream here. People asking about the software, asking about the availability. So we have a little treat. We are inviting everyone from the Winged Canvas community to join. I think it's the Patreon, right, Josh?
Yeah. Yep.
And inside, we will be offering you guys 2 months of license because we have a contest. So, one of the things that we wanted Gary to show you is the idea of how you can take your existing artwork and then you could use a tool to help you accelerate that with bones, with panels, with features, with facial mocap. To me, that's magical. I'm not an artist. I couldn't draw a door to save my life. But with a tool like CTA, it's amazing because I can set points. I can use my mouse. I can use my own facial features, my own expressions. I can use a webcam or an iPhone, and I feel empowered. I feel I could do this. And I've been with Reallusion for about 14, 15 years. And when I first started, I was doing tutorials for Crazy Talk. Crazy Talk was the original software that we had, 2D software, which was the predecessor to Cartoon Animator. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was not an animator, but I was doing tutorials already. And I learned that software in about a few weeks. It was so easy. And that's the same concept with Cartoon Animator 5. We designed the tool to be incredibly fast, but also very easy to learn, where you could start playing with this in a few days. And, the same day you can start animating your own stuff, just like Gary showed you. So let me share with you my screen. Let me try to present here, share screen. Give me a second. See the entire screen. Yep. All right. Can you see that?
Up. Yep. Here it is.
Wonderful. All right. So our company is called Reallusion. You know the tool already. And what we wanted to share with you guys is that we have a contest. And immediately, at least for me, the first thing I want to hear is, where's the money? What could I win? And we've got cash prizes. We've got hardware prizes from our sponsors. And best of all is that you can enter with the artwork that you have already created with Winged Canvas. You just have to animate it with CTA, and we will provide you with this software. So people were asking about the availability. You can download it right now. There's a free, if you go to this website, you can download the software already. We have a free 30-day trial. You can start playing with that immediately, but we want to offer you guys a 2-month application for the full version software. On top of that, we will be providing you the additional plugins like the webcam, the webcam that you saw that Gary they were showing for the facial mocap. We have a plugin for iPhones, but we also have an easier plugin that connects to any webcam. This could be for from a laptop, or any standard HD webcam, and you could use that to animate your characters. So we have a yearly contest at Reallusion. It's called the Animation at Work. And our purpose here is to encourage everyone to bring in their artwork and start animating it super quickly with Cartoon Animator. So we're going to be giving out a 2-month free license. We can talk about that a little more. Let me just go through the intro here so you have a little idea. Gary shared with us a lot of the stuff like the spring bones, how to quickly rig a character, the facial mocap. But we've got so many tools inside, and best of all is that this connects easily to Photoshop, to After Effects, so you could use your already existing tool sets with CTA. Many of you might have the inquiry of, okay, but really, how long is this going to take me to learn? So we've got you covered. We've got videos like the one here from Mark Diaz that gives you the basics, quick a quick guide on how you could start learning the software. We try to play this so we can see this. In this video, we'll guide you on all the panels, what the content manager is, what type of guide you on how you can start using the software on your very first day, where to click, where to open something. So you'll find all the resources you want inside this page. So once you start diving in, if you want to learn about character creation, you can click on that category and you can scroll through the many tutorials. We also have tutorials for character animation, secondary animation, and then how to connect this to your favorite pipelines. If you're using this with Blender or After Effects or Photoshop, we'll teach you how to do that. And one of the things that we do at Reallusion is that we put a lot of effort and time into ensuring that our tutorials are to the point and they're as short as possible. Because if you're like me, I don't like sitting down for 20, 30 minutes to find a specific topic. So we try to break this down in a form that it's easy to not just search, but also to digest, right? So we have all these resources in here. We also invite you to be part of this free webinars and free assets that we want to give out. So the contest, we are inviting the Wing Canvas community to be join this right now since October 18th, and you can start applying for this 2-week license. We're going to officially announce this contest next week, and this is going to run all the way to January 7th. We were thinking about December, but then we know the holidays are coming, so we want to give people enough time to learn the software, to play with it, and just start experimenting with things. So you might ask, okay, what are the rules? Well, it's fairly simple. Just create a video. Create a video. We have several categories. We'll talk about that in a while. You could upload your video to YouTube, Vimeo. Try to add the title, Animation at Work. That way we can identify that. The hashtag. So one little thing that I try to always remind people. I tend to skim the rules because I see everything is pretty standard, but I implore you to always try to pay attention to some of the stuff that we have here, because in past contests, we've had people complain that they follow the rules, to the T, but then we had other people that probably did 95% of everything, but they didn't add a text. And then we're in a position where we have to disqualify them or not. So just try to read all the rules inside. It's pretty standard. And yeah, so the categories, we have business and commercial, where you can animate your favorite product or service or any idea that you have. If you have a goofy idea, you can try to animate that. Your best comics and art animation. This is ideal for you guys because obviously you have your own artwork and that will work amazingly well with CTA. Gary already gave us a taste on how you can animate your stuff. If you want to create an educational video, that is easy. And you can do that if you want to talk about anything like explain rain or humidity or anything of value that you think would work for education. You can animate that. Then we have other categories like best use of Cartoon Animator, the best live performance, where you could use the motion capture website, right? The webcam. We also have sponsors like XP Pen and also XPG. So we have a category for XP Pen, and I'll talk about the prizes in a while right now. And then if you want to dive into the judging criteria and be a little aware of exactly what the judges are looking for, you can read through all of this part. Anyways, let's go to the really important part. This is what I care about. What are the prizes? So we've got several categories, as I mentioned, like business and commercial, comic and arts. So each one has up to three prizes, three spots. We're offering for first place $1,000 cash. We could send this through PayPal or a bank transfer. We also have up to 50,000 bonus points. So 50,000 bonus points is about 500 US dollars in credits. These credits can be used to purchase additional stuff if you want that from our content store, or if you want plugins or anything else. And we also have our sponsor, XP Pen, which has been very, very generous in offering these tablets. We have the Artist Pro 19. This is a $900 value tablet, 4K. For second prize, we have the Deco Pro LW, and then we have Pro MW for third prize. And also for the categories under this, we have other sponsored prizes from XP Pen. Additionally, we also have prizes from XPG, which is a gaming hardware company that offers gaming mice, and we can have these shipped out to you guys. So, anyways, these are the prizes that we've got. Any comments, Josh?
No, I do see a question about like, can you view contest entries?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that question. So, I'm going to go into the contest that we had last year. This is, as I mentioned, this is a yearly contest that we have at Reallusion, the animation network. And I can go to the entries of last year just to show you a little. But I think the easiest one would be for me to play this this video. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So these are the entries from last year. This is the little demo trailer, or like a wrap-up video that we did on the contest. And we can see all the entries. Some of them were the winners. Some of them were just were the special awards. We gave a lot of honorable mentions to a lot of people. They got very, very creative with the tools that we've got on the different genres, business and commercial. This guy, Nandor Toth, I think he won one of the spots because he created a commercial video on how to sell CTA. So, yeah, this year we were talking about that with the judges. We were like, yeah, please, we don't want people to be creating commercials on how to sell CTA. It's kind of like cheating, but it was so cool. The video, we had a lot of debate because the video was so well done that we're like, it's just hard not to include him because he had a lot of great visuals and everything. Mm-hmm. So this is the comics and art section. This is Valiant 7, sort of like a manga feeling. So CTA is perfect for this type of style because it's got the bones, it's got the sprites, and it allows you to create really impactful animations like these, like motion sequences. This is Valiant 7. So one of the things that we are very proud of at Reallusion is that when you're part of this contest, Josh, it's not just about winning the prizes. You know, the cash is good and the hardware prizes also. But the thing is, Reallusion is also creating a platform to give you exposure in the community. So all of these winners, the top prizes, once the contest is over, we interviewed them. We had them create, and we worked to create an article, like a featured story article, which we publish, and then we finance that as a published story on several media outlets like Cartoon Brew and Creative Block. And our idea here is to give you that exposure. we make sure that not just the Reallusion community and CTA community learn about your artwork, but everyone else. And we promote this heavily. Let it be through the media outlets, through our magazine. We do a lot of broadcasting on our social media. We tag all our sponsors. So the idea is to give you as much exposure as possible. And, because if we can make you guys look good, then people start asking, how do they do that? What are the tools that they use? Oh, yeah, they used Illustrator, they use Krita, they use Cartoon Animator. And we're able to talk about that because we always enjoy people to share their workflows and their pipelines, right? That inspires other artists. Be like, oh, I didn't know I could use that. Okay, so this is the main idea of everything. One little detail that I do recommend with everyone is that um, when you start the process of working with Cartoon Animator, please document your workflow. If you have OBS, turn on the screen recorder and just record as you're playing with the software and you're creating your stuff. Because we always encourage people to have a work in progress, like a behind the scenes, to their entry. So you publish your final animation and you also submit the recordings of your process, how you did it and what you did that. Because we found out that there's a lot of people that watch these videos, and one of the biggest questions they have is, how did you do it? I want to see the tools that you use. I want to learn about your workflow. And we always encourage people, and that's why we love the idea of working with Winged Canvas, because you guys are a school. You guys are all about sharing those workflows and teaching people, and we want to be able to do that with the audience and the community. So when you have your entry, your submission, try to record also your process, and you can upload this as a video and explain to people how you did it and what are the steps that you embarked on. All right. So yeah, any other question?
No, but it's just great to see that, like, we kind of have like very similar like missions of making it as accessible for people
Mm-hmm.
and like giving them all the tools as much as possible. And it's just it's great that you guys are giving this to us, the whole trial period so that people could try it out. And I can already see the excitement in the chat where people are like, I can't wait to test it out, and they already are thinking of things to animate. So yeah, we really appreciate that you're giving the viewers as well like this, extra sneak peek and
Mm-hmm.
extra access to the software. So
You're very, very welcome. And I as I mentioned, I've been with the company for 15 years. I'm a director now at Reallusion. When I first entered, I had no idea about artwork, about animation, and I was just very curious. I guess I got pulled into the company because I don't know. I tend, when I like something, I'm able to explain it in an easy way, I guess. And I was really intimidated because I thought, this is an animation company. This is a software company. I don't even know how to program. I'm not an artist. But when I started playing with the Reallusion software back then, the Crazy Talk one, as I mentioned, I noticed it was so easy. And I got excited because I thought, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I'm very honest when I say that. And that's one of the things that we really focus on at Reallusion. Let me try to just play some of the stuff that we have, the demo reel that we have for Cartoon Animator here. My idea was always, if I am able, you can see the video playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my idea was always, if I can do this, anybody can. And I would imagine, I feel that's one of the mottos we've got, Josh, at Reallusion, where our mission is to put in the work to develop these algorithms, to develop these tools, to develop these plugins that can save you time. If we can create something like the spring dynamics, like the octopus that Gary showed us, and the bones, because we listen to a lot of artists and they tell us their pain, like, oh my goodness, if I have to keyframe this, my wrist is going to fall off. So then we're thinking about ways how to animate, how to automate this. If I can use technology to grab my existing artwork and I could use that to save some of that time, where instead of spending days, I can do this in a few hours. and I can save you 10, 15, 20% of that effort and that time, that allows you more space for creativity. That gives you more time to create more, and you don't have to be bogged down by all the technical stuff. That's our job. We want to make it as easy and intuitive as possible. And besides doing that with the software, we do that with all the tutorials, and we also do that with the content. We've had studios approach us, and I know that many times studios have to create something and they have to do it quickly. So we also have a content store where if you don't have time to create an animation, or you need an animation of somebody that's doing gymnastics or doing a dance, we have those motion files like these that we're showing on the screen here. You just drag and drop them, or you need a character that's ready made. We have a content store also for a lot of developers that can create their own artwork, and this is something that I encourage people from Winged Canvas also. Because we have the software, we also have the content, and we invite you to also create your own content. And let me just go to the Reallusion store to show you here. So we've got the software store, but we also have the content store. And this is a magical place because this is where you guys can create your own artwork. You could rig it in the format that's required for CTA, and you could sell this. You could approach Reallusion. They can certify you as a feature developer, and you could start selling your own content. And there's a worldwide market of studios, of artists, of marketing agencies that they need this content now, right? They probably don't have time to create something quick, so they want to buy this stuff. And we know that there's a lot of artists from the Winged Canvas community, and this is perfect because you can grab your artwork, you can learn to use the software, and you could try your hand at being a developer. You could sell this in the content store with Reallusion, or you can also join the marketplace. The marketplace is also like an online platform that allows you to manage your own virtual store. You can do this by yourself. You can upload your content, and you could start selling and just creating revenue remotely and selling to a worldwide audience. So yeah, so that's why we're very, very excited to invite you guys to be part of the contest. Again, our idea here is to be able to give you that taste, allow you a chance to play with the software, allow you a chance to learn the software, allow yourself a chance to bring in your existing artwork and possibly even catch some of those cash prizes and hardware prizes that we have on top of all the promotional support we want to offer. All right.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love all the gear and the special prizes that you can get. And it's cool that there's the store too, because I know, like, again, it seems like you're just trying to cut the fat and go like straight to it and be able to just start making anything as quick as possible. It's like, oh, I just want to test it out, try out the software. There's already a asset waiting for me that I could just plug in and just learn that way instead of having to worry about coming up with a character and all of that. So
absolutely. I know in the questions, Josh, there were some people asking about examples. They want to see artists that use the software studios. So this is one called Lucky Planet. They do animated podcasts, and we discovered them because they joined our contest. I think it was last year. It was the educational category. They were part of the contest. They tried the software. They loved it. And so this is a really good example of a professional studio now that's using our tools. There's another example that I love. His name is Dean Stobart. He's the owner of 44 Tunes, which is a musical football animated channel on YouTube. Sorry, I'm playing this. Playing the commercials here. Sorry about that.
Good.
So this is 44 Tunes. They have 4 million subscribers on YouTube, and they use Cartoon Animator to create their animations. They also have a musical team. Oh, I'm sorry about this. I need to get the premium version here. Let me finish this part. So they have a team that creates their musical shorts. They have a team that create their animations. They're like a 5 or 7 person studio. Oh my goodness. All right. They're like a 5 or 7 person studio, and they're able to generate these animations for every football match or any type of news that they have on international football. Somebody gets transferred, they animate this. They have songs, custom songs that they create. And you know, as I was talking to Dean, he mentioned that with any other tool they couldn't be able to generate these animations, these episodes, in such a short time, because Cartoon Animator is designed to take a lot of that workload off. They're able to use our tools, they're able to use the plugins, and they're able to create all these animations on a weekly basis. So that gives them a huge advantage. And you'll notice that they love to, their style is to love to stick to this flat sprite based look that they've got, because their audience is attracted to the news of the content, right? And they like this one. There's another artist that I want to talk about. His name is Declan Walsh. He is an ex-Disney animator. Yes, that's right, a Disney animator. He worked on a lot of films in the past. He Anastasia, Epic Mickey, also Wreck-It Ralph. Declan has been a superstar in creating animated effects like water splashes. I remember I was watching the Sword in the Stone. You remember that Disney animation? I was watching that with my daughters the other day, and I was looking at some of these animated sprites and effects, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, you know, back in the day they used to do this, all this keyframing. And so Declan discovered our software, and then he learned that he could create animated sprites to be able to sell these inside the content store. And he's been creating a lot of these animations, and he has his own little store in the Reallusion content store. So, you know, anyways, it's amazing to see what people can create with CTA and the stuff that they're able to do once they get a hold of the software and they learn how it works and everything. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions?
No, well, Kevin's answering them left and right and trying to catch all of them. But yes, just to clarify with the submission amount, so like people can continue to submit multiple submissions in the same category, or is it like
Absolutely,
multiple?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We encourage people to do that. Actually, you have the freedom to submit different entries into different categories and try your luck. And sometimes that happens because people have a lot of ideas. Maybe they want to do something for education, and then they have a great, you know, business idea they think that would work out. So yeah, you're encouraged to do that. The only thing is, I always, again, I remind people, document your process, record what you're doing, because we always request people to upload the work in progress also, right? They to document the process and share it with everyone.
Cool. No, thanks for. I think that will be all. We actually went
All
a
right.
little longer than we were expecting, but no, this is great. This is like so much information, and thanks for sharing all like the contest and all the prizes that you guys can get. Is there anything else before we kind of end this like stream?
I think from our side, that's basically it. Again, we have a form. So the contest is starting next week officially, and we're giving you guys that quick jump to grab the software. So all you have to do is apply to. I don't know if you want to share that screen, or Josh. Are you guys are going to invite everyone into the Patreon, right? And
Yes.
they can submit there. So we have a form. And we invite you to go to the form and sign up. your email, your details, and that way you could apply for that free 2-month software that we're offering to people. We encourage you to share your portfolio. If you have like an ArtStation portfolio or your social media handles or anything that could show some of the work that you've done in the past. So the great thing about this program that we're offering is that on top of the CTA software, we're also including the plugins. The plugins, if you have an iPhone, you can connect that to do your facial mocap. We also have the plugin for the webcam, so you can start animating your characters. Gary talked about the sprites. If it's so fun because if you grab an inanimate object like a water bottle and you want that object to talk, you just drop in sprites for the eyes, for the mouth. We have templates for that. We have face templates. You can drop that on top. They're fully rigged, and then it's as easy as turning on your webcam. You could also use your microphone. So we have built-in technology where you could talk into the software. It'll recognize your audio, create a quick instant transcript, and it'll automate it'll lip sync your animations, your mouth to that audio. And it does this automatically, magically. So so we're going to be offering the software. We're going to be offering the plugins for facial mocap, and all you have to do is go to that form and register, submit.
Cool. And it's the one where it's like apply for 2 months software. You click it, you fill it out. That's how you get it.
So do you want to give everyone the link for the contest right now?
I believe Kevin is throwing out all the links. Yeah.
All right. We're also putting it in the YouTube channel there. So with the Patreon, please, with the Patreon, of course, join the Patreon for Winged Canvas, and you'll have the form there, and you could just register quick, and we'll get that software to you ASAP, because we want you to start playing this weekend. We want you to start discovering this. We want you to start training yourself on how to use this panel, how to use that panel. Again, we design things to be as intuitive as possible. I'm not an animator. If I can use this, anybody can. Trust me.
No, thank you so much. And I think it is encouraging that if it's kind of almost anyone can do it. So that's kind of a testament to how easy it is to use the software and just get going. So yeah, I guess that's kind of everything. I know Kevin's kind of answering all the questions, but yes, thank you for teaming up with us and just sharing your experiences. And I don't know if Gary is still on, but Gary was.
I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Can I just wrap up and just say one thing to everybody that's still listening? I won't go over too long. Two things. One, on the contest, absolutely get involved. The contest is how I started with Cartoon Animator with Reallusion. Over 10 years ago, I saw the contest, I got involved with it, and I'm very, very pleased to say I finished my entry in 3 weeks, and I won the first time that I entered the contest. I actually won that year. And the other thing that I wanted to say was the 2D marketplace is the greatest opportunity for your students to get out there and to not only get their work out, but to make some money. I started in the 2D marketplace as a hobbyist, just selling, some bits and pieces here and there. And 3 years ago, I sold my family business to do this full time, because the market out there is huge, and you guys have some amazingly talented people that could be selling their content in there. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
No, thank you for sharing that, Gary. But yeah, thank you for demonstrating, because I think your excitement is just so infectious for our stream, and you're very clear with your demonstration too. And thank you for answering all our questions and also demonstrating on the spot, because I know if we were doing that in traditional animation and somebody off the cuff just oh, can you do this? And it's
Q&A is my favorite part. Yeah. I could sit here and do 3 hours just on Q&A because it helps people.
Yeah, you got to stop them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm not easy to stop. But the good thing about Q&A is that you get feedback in real time. You get that answer now, and you don't have to go Googling it.
I just remembered something, Gary. So as I mentioned, Josh, we're offering the software where all the tutorials, the free tutorials are there, all the resources. But Gary and some of the other CTA users, they run a very prolific Facebook group called the
Yeah.
Cartoon Animator Users Group. It's filled with a lot of very friendly, a lot of helpful people. And maybe, Gary, you could share that in the YouTube chat. You can drop in the link to that Facebook group that you guys have, because once you guys start playing with the software and you have questions and you're itching, like, oh, how do I do this? How do you do that? You can join that Facebook group that Gary manages with the team, and you can ask questions, and you're going to have a bunch of CTA veterans that are more than happy to help you out. They're very, very friendly. They're very, very informative. So I think that's a great resource to also share with you guys.
We've actually got 5,600 CTA users in there. You can ask questions and get answers within minutes. It's a really friendly community, and we do not tolerate anybody that's not. They get kicked out very, very fast. The only thing you have to remember is when you enter, you'll be asked 3 questions. Please make sure you answer those 3 questions. Otherwise, you won't get into the page. But once you're in there, start asking questions all you want, and we'll answer them. I'm in there every day. Come say hello.
No, that's amazing that you can find help like right there. It's just right around the corner. So.
It's just the Cartoon Animator Users Facebook group. Yeah, no, really good people.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So from our side, also, we want to thank Winged Canvas, Josh, Kevin, Faye. You guys have been fantastic. We've been following your community for a while, and you know, this was the moment to approach everyone. This was the moment to invite everyone to be part of this contest. So we really thank you for your interest, for the time, and giving us that opportunity to share what we create. Because again, we're all in this together. And if we could share what we do, and you guys can share what you do, I mean, it's in the benefit for everyone, right?
And thanks for letting me off the leash to talk right now.
No, it was great. It was great. Yeah, and it's been a pleasure working with you guys as well, and just seeing you guys work and show off the software. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody in the community and who wants to animate and was like afraid of animating is hopefully maybe more encouraged to do it now.
There's no excuse anymore.
So, yeah.
And it's really not scary.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that is it. Thank you guys for joining our stream. Thank you again for demonstrating and sharing this software and demonstrating it in front of all of us. So yeah, I guess it's good afternoon for you guys, or good noon?
Yes, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, hope you guys have a good rest of the day and good weekend.
Thanks,
it's like nighttime for us, so
thank you. I hope everyone had a good time. Have a good evening, and yeah, we hope to see all of you in the contest. One little thing, just a quick reminder. In the form, when you apply for the 2-month license, we have a question. How did you learn about that? There's a little ticker, multiple choice one for Winged Canvas. So please, everyone from Winged Canvas, click on that. We want to be able to track everyone, like, oh, this is a person from Winged Canvas. All right.
Yes, please do it. That'd be awesome.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.